So, Rich, tell me what happens when a realtor breaks a wine fridge.
Yeah. The wine fridge was not broken. It was just opened improperly.
Welcome back to Rich Hatch Homes. I'm Tommy.schorer.
And I'm Rich Hatch.
And today we are going to talk about inspections and remedy requests and what that process looks like.
Yeah, Tommy, one of the things that we're talking about today, obviously, is a remedy request. This can be kind of the most contentious part of the entire deal. And, a lot of people think, oh, it's the negotiating the price. And it's like, it has nothing on the remedy request. And the reason they can be so contentious is that buyer goes into the house that they've written an offer on, got it accepted. They are in love with this house. And now they're back at the house and the inspector is pointing out all the imperfections of that house. And, there can be a little bit of cold feet they have. Maybe they're upset that something wasn't disclosed, and they can just feel like, hey, I want this house to be perfect.
And from the seller's side, they've been living in the house for however many years, maybe have an emotional connection to the house that when somebody brings up some imperfections, they react emotionally, and that's their baby, Rich.
That's right. Yeah. And speaking of their baby, there are certain expectations, however, in the purchase agreement, that buyers should have. One of the things I tell all my buyers and all my sellers is that everything in the house ought to work the way it was designed to work. So, when a buyer goes into a house and is looking at houses, they shouldn't have to open all the windows to make sure they work. They shouldn't test all the outlets. They shouldn't have to make sure every single light switch works in the house. There just should be a general expectation that the house, all the items in the house work the way they ought to, especially when it comes to major mechanical issues.
Yeah, Rich, you mentioned major mechanical as it talks about in the purchase agreement. That's different than cosmetic or how things may look. So it's not giving the house a facelift, it's fixing those major mechanical issues that you talked about a little bit. But with this comes some gray area. Nothing is black and white. Some things are a little more so than others, but there are gray areas. An example of this, it could be a roof that's starting to reach the end of its life, and that's identified in the inspection report, but it's doing what it should. It's keeping water out of the house. It's still intact. That becomes a gray area because the buyer now knows that roof is going to need to be replaced soon. So when we have these gray areas, it opens up the door for negotiations a little bit to come to a compromise. Walk us through what that can look like.
Yeah, absolutely. In a remedy request, especially in the Iowa City area, the way they're handled is that you have the opportunity to ask for what you want. The seller can respond, and then if the buyer doesn't accept how the seller responds, that deal can end. And so you just want to be careful or cautious in this process to make sure that, if the seller has a backup offer, that you're not putting yourself in a position where you could actually lose the house in that negotiation, unless you're okay with it. And so it takes a little bit of tact. And you want to approach it with some type of a strategy where you're going in, figuring out what are the main things that you want fixed, and also considering the age of the house, what the expectations are for a home of that age, and things like that. So I do think that the biggest thing is you want to make sure there's a lot of communication going on between you and your buyer, trying to figure out how to move forward, and as well as communicating with that other realtor.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the value comes in of having a realtor that can help you through those processes and help you navigate some of those negotiations.
Absolutely. We see a lot of deals fall apart on these remedy requests, and a lot of it has to do with because somebody has not had the process explained well to them, or maybe they have the wrong expectations. And that can really throw things off. And so I think that's where the realtors can come in, help everybody agree on certain expectations of this process, and also, just help guide people through it so that we can not only hopefully keep a deal together, but also make it so that everybody can sit at the table, be happy, and leave happy.
So thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about the inspection and remedy request process. It's a process that can be contentious at times, but if you know what it says in the purchase agreement, know it's major mechanical versus cosmetic, and have someone working with you that can help you navigate and negotiate those gray areas, you can come out with a good result and get the house that you want. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Rich Hatch Homes.